Good morning. And a good morning. Right, let's see. Again, working out the intricacies. Can't see of the bloody glare. Okay. Right, you coming to join us, little lady? What are you looking so grumpy for?
Because I haven't set up.
Well, hurry up and sit up, dear.
Put her down then.
Yeah, let her go down. She'll be all right. Right, good morning, everybody. Running a little late this morning. Chickens are ready. Babies are ready. Getting out of chair. Puppies at hand. Okay, right. Hope you've got your chair. Lots of energy. And you're ready for day number 4 of the lockdown. Day 4 of the lockdown. Right, we'll do a little bit of a different warm-up this morning. We'll start jogging on the spot. Let's go, let's go. Getting on the spot. Lift those knees a little in the front. Just a little. Lift those knees a little. Chest up, belly drawn in tight. Shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage. I'm not all floppy here. Shoulder blades engaged onto the rib cage. Nice and light, not too much pressure on the knees. Don't let the knees go forward. Again, like we do with our squats, as you land, let your weight land into your bottom. Keep your knees back. Don't let them bend over the front of your toes. So when I land, I'm landing back into my bottom. Now lift those knees a little higher. Keep your shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage. Pump your arms, synchronizing those arm pumps with your leg movement. Synchronizing the pumping of the arms with the leg movement. Now lift those knees a little higher. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And back into a jog. And let's switch our legs forward and back. Little more high energy sessions in the mornings to set ourselves up. Probably all eating a lot more than we used to while we all still have food. And double jumps. Up and down. Up and down. Double jumps up and down. And switch those legs again. Forward and back, keeping those shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage, collarbone lifted. And now a little twist. So now we're applying all the work we do in our TRX class to have a beautifully well oiled and connected machine. Cardio is as important as the functional training we do to connect those tips from fingertips to toes. So while I'm doing this work, I'm conscious, my mind's awake. I have energy in my fingertips and energy all the way down to the toes and connected through every cell in the body. If I feel anything wobbling loose, I have to work out how to rein that in. Let's go left to right. Left to right. And forward and back. Forward and back, shoulders engaged. DJ Mum, we need some music. Next time we'll have music. And jogging on the spot. Jogging on the spot. Lifting those knees up, jogging on the spot. A little bit faster now. Not too high, but fast movements. Shoulders back. Engaged onto the back of the rib cage. I don't want any tension in the front. All the holding is from the back. So I'm engaging those shoulder blades onto the back of the rib cage so I can pump those arms. Faster, 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 sprint! And jog. And we're going for another sprint. Pick it up. Think Usain Bolt. Let's go. Speed up those pumps. Speed up, synchronizing hands and legs. Pump faster, 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 faster. Shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the ribcage. Go. Sprint! 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 And jump.
She's laughing.
And jump. Sorry, I lied. There's one more. One more to go. Slow down. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And let's go for our last little bit of a wiggle of the hips. Keep that belly pulled in tight into the front of the rib cage. And let's go. Shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage. I want to feel those shoulder blades on the back of the rib cage, engaged in, keeping the upper body stable. And let's go. Speed up for our last sprint. Let's go. Synchronizing the arms and the legs. With every pump of the arm, shoulder pump, that's a step. Let's go. Speed it up. Speed it up. Belly pulled in tight into the front of the spine. Come on, let's go. Pump those arms and legs. Shoulders onto the back of the ribcage. Go, 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 go. Usain Bolt. Go, 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 go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And jog. I can't wait to be able to see all you lot. Okay. Right, let's roll out those hips. So we're going to be doing all different kinds of things. We don't want to just get stuck with the chair. And as much as I'd love to bring the TRX straps out, we'll be leaving too many people out. What I might do is do a few TRX workouts in my own time and upload them. We've got a YouTube channel, so I'll start using that. I'm going to upload all the classes we've done so far onto the YouTube channel, Bonnie the Boxer. I'll upload them as in lockdown training day 1, lockdown training day 2, and so on and so on. And then as I get time, I'm going to add in, let's go forward and back, some of the TRX specific workouts. For those of you that are missing your straps. Right, and again, I'm drawing my belly in, lifting the chest, and then reaching. I'm lifting out of the hips, not just folding back, lifting out of the hips, and then stretching the glutes, pulling up on the thighs, come forward, come forward, come forward. Slowly release yourself down, fingertips on the floor, bend those knees, and then one at a time, let's just stretch the back of the legs out. So I bend both knees, then straighten out the right knee, reaching the right hip up into the sky. Bend that, straighten up the left knee, bend it, straighten up the right knee, pulling the belly back into the front of the spine. The bloody chickens are eating the ferns again. And pull up on the right leg, left leg,
Did you hear that, Richard?
right leg, left leg, and bend. Then walk your feet together, flatten your belly onto the front of the thighs, grab behind the ankles, and just draw those hips up as high as you can. Keeping that belly flat on the thighs. Pull up on your thighs, keep your belly flat on the thighs. Pull those kneecaps up into the hip crease. Drawing the belly into the front of the spine. And release. Come up. Okay. Touch your hand if you need to onto the chair. Otherwise you can just keep your arms free. Again, to keep your balance. We're going to do a lot of balance work, core strengthening. And the more we're centered in our body, the more we're going to be centered in our mind, which we'll need for these next couple of weeks. Right, so drawing the belly in, pulling up feet together, pulling up strongly on both legs. Lift the collarbone, engage the shoulder blades onto the back of the rib cage, and let's lift that left leg. And driving strongly, get the left shin bone perpendicular to the floor, the left thigh parallel to the floor. We'll be working on our mathematical terms too. Driving strongly into the big toe joint of the right leg, of the standing leg, equally into the outside blade of the standing foot. Pulling up strongly on all the muscles of the knee, so that I feel that knee joint of the right leg fully supported on all sides. This is a perfect way of aligning the knee joint. The knee joint, once it's straight, has only the ability to flex and extend. It's only when you bend your knee that you create the ability for that shin bone to rotate in the knee joint. So if I have my knee fully extended and I pull up on all the muscles, I'm absolutely aligning that knee joint. It's a surefire way of fixing any long-term knee injuries, any imbalances in the knee. But you must be pulling up on all sides, not locking back. Pulling up, all the musculature of the knee pulling up into the hip crease. That leg should be burning. I'm also, while I'm concentrating on pulling up on the knee joint, straighten out that right leg, Mom. Pull up strongly on that right knee. Yes. While I'm concentrating on pulling up strongly on the right knee, I'm equally concentrating on driving into the big toe joint and the outside blade of that standing foot. That leg should be burning a little now.
Yes.
Then my collarbones lifted, my belly pulled back, my shoulders are engaged onto the back of the rib cage, my arm bones are sucked into their sockets. I can use the hands to balance if I want. Again, the more my upper body is engaged, the more I'll be able to use. If I switch this off, I'm going to be flapping around. If I keep it on, be nice and controlled, everything drawn in to the core. Oh, right leg burning. Pull up strongly on that right thigh.
Big time.
And now, if you want, you can touch your finger on your chair. Oh, burning right hip flexor. Pull up strongly on that right thigh. We're going to go for 10 extensions of that left leg. So let's go. Keeping that left knee up at this height. I don't want it to drop. I'm going to extend and back. Pulling up strongly on the right thigh. 2, and back. Belly pulled back into the front of the spine. 3, and back. 4, and back. 5, and back. 6, and back. 7, and back. 8, and back. Strong leg, standing leg straight. 9, and back. 10, and back. Oh, God, and roll out those hips. Remember, if at any point you fall out or you can't continue for any reason, you stop, you re-oxygenate your muscles, have a little move around if you need to, and then come straight back in. Especially with the isometric exercises, those exercises where we're standing still. Super important that if you fall out, you come straight back in. The tiredness, the shaking, as soon as you re-oxygenate the muscles, you'll be ready to come straight back in. Don't waste any time standing around wishing you could join in, wondering what to do. Just come straight back into where you were. Or step back one instruction if you can't. If you can't manage the last instruction I do, come back to the one before and do that one. And so on, step back until you find one you can hold, and there you stay. Right, pulling up strongly on the left thigh now, extending the right leg. Everybody asks me to do beginners classes. It's not necessary. We're stepping up through stages. Every set of instructions has got levels. If you can't go further than this, you stay here and listen to those and loop those instructions. Pull up on the thighs, drive into the big toe joint, outside blade of the foot on the floor, belly pulled in, collarbone lifted, shoulder blades engaged. If you just follow those instructions, you're working. Look, I'm sweating just from concentrating on those set of instructions. If I've got that, then I extend the right leg. And then I start looping those instructions. All that's added on here is the upper body is engaged onto the left thigh now, left glute engaged, pulling up strongly on both thighs. Both feet perpendicular to the shin bones, belly drawn in, collarbone lifted, shoulders rotated back, arm bones sucked into their sockets. Consciousness in the fingertips and the tips of the toes. If you've got this, move on to the next step, pull that knee up. If you can't do that, take that leg straight back down. Always following the last set of instructions if you can't do the next one. And just loop what you can remember in your mind. Concentrating on running as many multiple screens as possible. Directing different joints in your body to do different things and hold different positions. Here I am, pulling up strongly on the left thigh. Left glute engaged. Maintaining the alignment with the hip and the upper and the shoulders by engaging the muscles of the middle body. Obliques. Oh, I forgot to turn the sound down again. Right, good. Hold it there. 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 Oh, I got things in. Pulling up strongly on that left thigh. Draw the belly back, lift the chest, engage the shoulder blades into the back of the rib cage, suck the arm bones into the sockets, extend your consciousness into your fingertips and into your toes. Hold that strongly. Left leg should be burning a little by now. All the muscles of that left knee strongly drawn up into the hip girdle. Not locking back, but pulling up on that left knee. Now, again, if you like, you can touch your finger onto your chair, or better if you don't. But what I'm trying to do is extend that left leg, but without the tuck. So I'm keeping that belly pulled back, deep front abdominal muscles drawn back into the front of the spine, pulling up on the left thigh. Take a big deep breath in. As you breathe out, extend the right leg. Try not to fall over. Don't let that left knee bend. Rather hold the chair. Take a big deep breath in. Draw the belly back, lift the chest. And 2, and back. Keeping that left leg reined in. 3, and back. Trying to hold it out there on the extension for a second. 4, and back. 5, and back. 6, and back. 7, and back. 8, and back. Try and keep that thigh lifted. 9, and back. Last one. 10, and release.
Oh, that was more difficult than the other.
Roll out those hips. Roll out those hips. Again, when we do those extensions, you'll feel a few things that will happen. Number 1, the standing leg wants to bend to allow this to happen. Other thing is that the hips come forward, and the other thing is the belly comes out. So I want to keep this pulled back, keep that leg lifted, and keep the body upright. Those are the 3 things I'm trying to rein in when I'm doing those extensions. Right, let's come back to feet together. Right, driving strongly into the big toe joints, drawing the bones of the first 2 toes together. So what I mean by this is the big toe and that little second toe, I run them into the ankle, and from the ankle end, I squeeze those bones together. That's going to activate the arch of the foot and the energy line that comes up on the inner calf, in a knee, in a thigh, and up into the pelvic floor. So by driving into the big toe joint while activating the first 2 toes together, I want to activate that inner chain. Once that I feel it alive and alight, I keep that activation, and slowly with the activation in, I push into the outside blade of the foot. And then I should feel the outer chain light up. Outside, behind the outside of the ankle, outer calf, outer knee, outer thigh, into the glutes. And that leg should be fully supported inside and out. Then I concentrate on taking the weight equally and evenly through the front and back of the feet. So center point of the heel and the balls of the toes. And once I can get an equal and opposite distribution of weight across the front and back, then I'll feel the front and back of the legs light up. And I should have all sides of my legs strongly alive and alight. Then I take a big deep breath in. Draw the belly in, lift the chest, engage the shoulder blades onto the back of the rib cage, and extend that left leg again. Now we bend that left knee, pulling up strongly on the right thigh, attaching the upper body onto that right hip, using the obliques and the middle and the abdominal muscles to link the shoulders and the hips. If I switch this off, this is all going to be floppy. I'm using the abdominals and the deep spinal muscles to maintain alignment between the shoulders and the hips. Now, very slowly, I'm going to do a slight gesture of external rotation on that right thigh as I draw the left knee out. If I don't externally rotate, the sit's going to follow. I don't want it to follow. I want to lock this little gesture of external rotation on that right thigh in the hip joint, and then slowly bring that left knee out, pulling up strongly on the right thigh. Try and keep the upper body vertical. And now I pull the left knee back while I squeeze the left hip forward, all the time drawing the belly back into the front of the spine. If you need, you can touch here, but better not. Try and get that left knee parallel to the floor, left leg, shin bone vertical to the floor. Pulling the left knee back, squeezing the left hip forward, aligning the shoulders and the hips, drawing the belly back into the front of the spine. Rotate that hip over. Try and get that leg parallel to the floor. Draw the belly back, arch out of the hips, squeeze the hips forward, pull the knee back. Imagining there's a wall here and I'm flattening my front body against that wall. Lift the knee, pull up on that standing thigh, draw the belly back, lift the chest. Shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage. Lift, squeeze those hips forward and release. And roll out those hips.
Even puppies having a stretch.
Right, so working the glutes, which are the biggest muscle in the body. So you should feel a little bit of huffing and puffing. We're doing a little bit of cardio work because we're working on the biggest muscle in the body. Needs a lot of oxygen, a lot of blood. We're pulling it and tugging it in all directions, trying to control it. Most of us, through our lifestyles, have glutes that don't work properly. They've just been switched off either by sitting for too long or hanging into our bodies. So now we're creating a conversation between our mind and our body, our brain and our body. Turning on synaptic pathways, lighting things up that have been dormant and sleeping for so many years. Now's the opportunity to connect to your body. Right, let's bring your feet together. Pull up on the thighs, draw the belly back, lift the chest, engage the shoulder blades into the back of the rib cage. Everything alive and alight, into the big toe joint, outside blade of the foot, front and back, equal engagement and energy driving into the floor. Feet should be alive. And extend that right leg. Engaging all the muscles of the abdomen and the middle body onto that left hip. Bring the knee up. Right, and now again, if you can't manage this without touching, feel free to just touch. Don't grab it, don't use too much of it. But if you need to, touch the chair. Just to keep your balance. Not to assist in the movement, only to keep your balance. But try not to use it. I want to work those proprioceptors in the feet. We have millions of little receptors in the feet, message senders and receivers that are constantly working between the brain and the foot, telling us where we are and where we need to go, where we are in space and time. Oh, not so much time. Let's see, space. Right, now externally rotating that left hip in its socket, anchoring it out. I'm going to bring the right knee out. Drawing the belly back, lifting the chest, shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage, driving into the outside blade and the big toe joint of the standing foot. Then I'm going to align that right leg, thigh parallel to the floor, shin bone vertical to the floor. And I'm going to pull that knee back while I squeeze the hips forward. Pull that right knee back while I squeeze the right hip forward, aligning the shoulders and the hips with the obliques and the abdominal muscles, deep spinal muscles. Pull the knee back, squeeze the hip forward, trying to flatten out this angle here. Squeeze the hips forward, pull the knee back, draw the belly back into the front of the spine, rotate that leg. Lift that right leg up parallel to the floor, full right leg parallel to the floor. Draw the belly back, arch back out of the hips, squeeze the hips forward, pull the knee back, flattening the body against an imaginary wall in front of me. Hips forward, knees back, arching back out of the hips, drawing the belly back into the front of the spine. Lift the leg a little higher, come on, hold it, hold it. Hold it and release. And roll out those hips. Again, as in every exercise we do, you'll find as I'm shouting out those instructions, you're chasing your body, you're chasing around your body. Trying to, oh, this one and then that one, and then I follow this one, and then I have to go back to this one and that one and this one and that one. But what I'm trying to do is get multiple screens running, so that I'm holding and reeling in every joint, every muscle, and eventually every cell in my entire body. Supercomputer managing all of those instructions. Okay. Right. Back to my favorite. Very good, this one. Today. Alright, let's now step just a little way, just going to do just a little test, that if I stand vertical, and I extend the left leg now, pulling up strongly on the right leg, again the key here is not to be sagging into the belly. I've got to flex the hips slightly. I want to feel a little flexion in these hips, I'm not hanging. Flexion, feel my bottom stick out a little bit, the glutes stick out a little bit. So the glutes are open and then tight, not crunched forward. Open and then engaged in towards the center line. Then I draw the belly back and I arch back out of the hips. I don't want to be leaning forward here. Again, the stretch will go into a different place. So all the instructions I'm giving are guiding you and directing you into isolating certain parts of the body. Right, and here most of this work that we're doing this morning is really trying to open out the hip area. Right, where we store all of our tension, our frustrations, our emotions. Right, let's go, draw the belly back. So the more we open up this area, the freer not only our body but our mind becomes. Lift the upper body, rotate, internally rotating that left thigh bone in its hip socket while I internally rotate the right thigh bone in its hip socket. Extending that left leg out, pulling up on both thighs. Again, I have to engage. If I don't engage all of this, then when I lift, my body's going to go sideways. So you'll feel, when you want to start lifting, already you'll feel your body want to counterbalance. So now I've got to work out, what do I need to engage to control that so that my body doesn't go? And then when I go and I feel myself move, then in the next one I work out what I have to reel in to stop that movement. And slowly, slowly I'm going to tighten everything up so that I can do a nice balance without anything else moving, only isolating that left leg. Right, let's go. And as best you can, lift and hold, touch, realign yourself. Lift, touch, realign yourself. Lift, oh, touch, realign yourself. Lift and hold, touch, realign. Come on, work out what you need to hold back. Lift and touch. 5 and touch. 6 and touch. Make sure you're arching back out of your hips. Then you'll feel your lower back working. 7 and touch. 8 and touch. 9 and touch. Belly drawn back. 10. Pull up strongly on both thighs. 11 and touch. Keep that body upright. 12 and touch. Engaging all your muscles. 13 and touch. Jesus. Last 2. 14. Touch. And last one. 15 and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release.
Whoa, that's tough.
And roll out those hips.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Okay. Let's take the right leg out now. So again, it's never going to be perfect. That's the joy of our lives and our bodies, is that we can constantly, there's always room for improvement. There's always a place to get a little better, to make things a little more streamlined, to make our minds a little freer, our bodies a little easier to maneuver, to work with. So let's pull up on that left leg strongly. Extend the right thigh. Draw the belly back, lift the chest. Make sure that right thigh is internally rotated in its hip socket. Left thigh internally rotated in its hip socket. Working out. And now, even if you just think about lifting that right leg, you'll feel your body wants to tilt. So now, concentrate. What do I need to do to maintain it? It's engaging these right obliques. That's going to stop me from tilting. So engaging the right obliques, locking in with that left thigh, engaging the back muscles. That's all the things that are going to stop you from tilting. Lift and touch. Realign yourself. 2 and touch. Arch back out of the hips. 3 and touch. 4 and touch. 5 and touch. If you let that leg float up, it's not going to do the right thing. Keep those toes rotated down. 6 and touch. 7, hold and touch. Arch back out of the hips. 8 and touch. 9, touch. 10, touch. What number did we go to? 11, touch. Arch back. 12, touch. 3 left. 13, touch. 14, touch. Engage the back. Draw out. Let's go for the last one. Hold. 15 for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. And roll out those hips.
Gosh, that's a good
I'm having a little giggle to myself because as much as I hated technology and social media 2 months ago, I thank all those little angels in my life who've got on and on and on. Bonnie, you must get Instagram. Bonnie, you must get Facebook. Bonnie, you must buy a telephone that has a camera. Well, thank you all. Because I think I might have gone insane without you lot here. Right. Let's see. Where is our little timepiece? Yes, my little lady. Right, this next exercise we won't need the prop. We won't need our chair for. I'm just gonna adjust the camera slightly. Okay. Right. So, in fact, I think. Yes, I will go sideways. Okay. Right. So we're gonna come down to the floor.
One more.
Yes. We're going to come into just onto all fours. It's nice to have a little cloth mat on your, a little lungi or something on your mat, stop you slipping and sliding around. Chickens. Okay, right, so I'm going to come onto all fours, turn my toes under, rock the shoulders forward over the wrists, and then drive, as we did with the feet, driving strongly into this thumb and first finger, and gently drawing from the wrist end those through. You'll feel this little muscle here pop up. That's going to stabilize my foundation. Squeezing the thumb and the first finger together, not squeezing them all the way together, but activating them, gesturing that activation, and then driving in equally into the thumb and the first finger. And as you have that activation, pushing, rooting into the outside blade of the hand. That's going to find the 0 point of your elbow. Once I have equal distribution across the left and right of each hand, my elbow will find its 0 position. If I go into the thumb only, my elbow will rotate inwards. If I go into the outside only, my elbow will rotate outwards. I need to have equally rooting down through the left and right of each hand. Then I push forward into the palm side of the knuckle joints. I don't want to feel the weight resting in the heel of the hand. That's when my fingers will pop off. I'm pushing, pinning, like press studs down through the palm side of the knuckle joints. Again, I'm going to repeat it 1,000,000 times because this is the foundation of everything. The connection with your floor is like a foundation of a building. The better it is, the more structurally sound it is, the easier and the better and the longer lasting everything that you build on top of that will be. Right, so again, one more time. Outside blade of the hand, first finger and thumb equally driving into the floor. Rock the weight forward so that you're driving into the palm side of the knuckle joints. Turn your toes under and pop the hips off the floor. And we'll just do a little bit of movement here. We've worked a lot on the hips. So just roll back. And then rock the weight forward over the wrists. Keep the shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage. Drop the hips down. And stretch back, pushing into the heels, lifting up through the collarbone. Now I'm not just sagging here. I'm pushing back into the heels while I draw the collarbone up. Lovely stretch on the front side of the body. Drawing the belly back into the front of the spine to support the lumbar spine.
Yes, it's Monkey. Check on the wall.
Hey, Monkey dude. Welcome. He wants to come and do exercise.
On the front, he's going up the trees in front of us.
We've just had a monkey join the class. Fantastic. Nature is taking back its world. Right, then we're going to rock forward. We're going to, in fact, just hop our feet together. We're going to lift the right leg into the air, align the two hips, and I'm going to, as I rock forward, I'm going to bring the right knee into the chest. Keep the belly pulled. I don't want to be arched here. Front body long, knee pulled into the chest, shoulder blades active onto the back of the rib cage. So I'm not curved here. Back is straight. I'm arching back a little bit, trying to lengthen the front body. Then I stretch that leg back, and then I bring that right knee into the right armpit and hold it. Then I stretch back, and I bring the right knee into the left armpit, and I stretch back, and I bring the right knee into the chest, and stretch back into the right armpit. Hold it. Stretch back. Left armpit. Stretch back. Into the chest. Front body long. Stretch back. Right armpit. Front body long. Stretch back. Left armpit. Front body long. Stretch back. Come on, last cycle. Into the chest. Front body long. Stretch back. Right armpit. Stretch back. Left armpit. Stretch back. And touch down.
And only
Stretch
now
forward.
did I realise everything was in my wrists. Oh, God.
And come up again. Yeah, you can just do a quick stretch of the wrists. So you can, in fact, one at a time, just turn that left wrist over, pull up on the left elbow, and you can rotate that arm left and right through the wrists, and turn it the other way, and rotate left and right through that wrist. And right hand, left and right, and right, and turn it over, left and right, left and right. Right, so as in with all the exercises like I described before, if you can't do the pull in of the knee, in fact, if you only just bend the knee a little bit, so if I'm here and we start, if I just lift that leg and bring it into here, that's good enough to start. And I take it out to there, and then I bring it into here, and here, and here. This is good enough to start. Don't think just because you're not making it all the way that you're not getting the benefits. Anything that you do, any partial movement of that exercise is building the blocks to be able to do that. I'm going to go as far as I can, and each of you should go as far as you could. But don't be concerned that you're not getting far into the movement. Just try. And wherever you get to, that's your best spot. And slowly try and creep deeper and deeper into the movement as you go. Anything you do is the start, is the building blocks. Right, let's go. So pushing into the palm side of the knuckle joints. Activating equally into the inside and outside of each hand. Pulling up on the biceps and the triceps, sucking the arm bones into their sockets, rotating the shoulder blades round and back. Follow the set of instructions every time I say it. Don't think just because you've heard it a million times out of my mouth that you haven't. I still follow my own instructions and I make it a little better every time I do it. You can see, you can watch my body adjusting to my own instructions. Rotating the shoulders back, pulling the rib cage up into the front side of the shoulder blades while I activate the shoulder blades into the back of the rib cage. I draw the belly up into the front of the spine. I open up the glutes and I squeeze them from the outside in, grabbing the base of the spine with the glutes. I turn my toes under. And using the hip flexors here, I drive the hips up. Okay. Right. Now, walk your feet together. And let's go. Rock the weight forward. Bring the knee in as tight as you can. Again, I don't want to be tucked here. And again, I'm making my own exercise to work what I want to do. So please don't think that I'm saying that what you've done before is wrong. But I'm creating this exercise for what I want to achieve. So keep the back straight and the knee in as tight as I can. Back straight, not arch back. Straight back. And then send it out. And then bring that knee into the left armpit. And straighten it out. And bring that left knee into the right armpit. And straighten it out. Left knee into the chest. Back straight. Front belly long. And send it out. Into the left armpit. And send it out. Into the right armpit. And send it out. Into the front. Send it out. Left armpit, send it out. Right armpit, send it out. Last series, let's go. Bring it to the chest. Lengthen the front body. Send it out. Concentrating, keeping the weight equally distributed across the hands. And out. And right armpit. And out. And release. And let's just sit back and stretch out those wrists. Again, as you're concentrating on the legs, you'll find that the weight is rocking around through the hands, and that's when you're going to start feeling pain in the wrists and the hands. And then also we have to learn to distinguish between what we call pain. It's not just a blanket term for every message my body sends me, but what is that sensation? What does it mean? My body's telling me something. If it's sharp, it's normally that I'm doing something it doesn't like. If it's deep and aching, it normally means I'm unlocking and opening something that has been sleeping dormant for a long time. So slowly, if you can't distinguish the difference between those two messages, then maybe a better idea is to slow down first, or if you're feeling brave, just keep going and see if it gets better or worse. Until you learn to distinguish, because eventually you will be able to distinguish what is good pain, as in what is healing and opening your body, and what is bad pain, as in what is making it worse or aggravating something which is inflamed or injured. Okay. Right, let's come out. Today we're going to also do the side plank slightly differently. Yeah, we're going to do the side plank slightly differently without the chair today. So we're going to come onto our left side.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Go, boo-boo.
Lovely. Right, so we're going to come onto the left side. I'm going to pull out. I'm going to stack the right hip on top of the left hip, so I'm not rolling back and I've over-rotated it forward. Again, listen to the setup. Don't just think I've done this a million times, I know what I'm doing, hurry up and get up to the exercise. This is the exercise. The setup is the exercise. The better your setup is, the more rewards you'll get and the easier it will become. So again, I'm stacking the right hip on top of the left hip. If there was a pin driven through those hips, it's vertical to the floor. I'm internally rotating both thigh bones in the hip sockets to open up the glutes. I don't want my bottom squished forward and short and tight. Open the glutes, and then I've engaged them from the outside into the center line. I'm pulling up strongly on both thighs. I'm pushing equally into the big toe and the outside blade of the foot, as if there was a wall at the end of my legs, and I'm activating both feet into that wall. I draw the belly back. Deep front spinal muscles drawn back into the front of the lumbar spine to support the lower back. Then I suck the arm bones into their sockets. I lift that rib cage up into the left shoulder blade. And now already, if I've done all of that, I should feel a lovely stretch happening on the left outside of the outside of the left middle body. I activate the left hand into the floor, making sure that that left wrist doesn't lift. Right arm up in the air. If you can't do the lift with your hand in the air, you just support or even put your hand on that wrist so it doesn't pop up. You've done it nice and slowly, no momentum. I just gently squeeze and lift. Shoulder blades drawing together behind you. Opening up the front of the chest, engaging the shoulder blades onto the back of the ribcage, pulling up on both thighs. Activating the feet into that imaginary wall at the end of your legs. Collarbone lifted, arms straight up. We're going for another 30 seconds. Squeeze. Keep the glutes open, but engage them forward. Got another 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Open the front of the chest. Reach those right fingers up to the sky. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Let's come onto the other side. Again, you can hold that in funny positions and it won't be valuable, but if you listen to the looping instructions, got to align that body. Right, so now onto the right arm. Outside blade of the right foot into the floor. Pushing into there's an imaginary wall at the end of my legs. Activating the feet into that imaginary wall. A little internal rotation of the thigh bones in the hip sockets to open up the glutes. And then I engage the glutes from the outside in to grab the spine. I pull up on both thighs. I squeeze the inner thighs together. I activate the right wrist into the floor. I lift the rib cage up into that right shoulder blade. And then pushing into the outside blade of the right foot, left arm in the air, arched back out of the hips. I squeeze the right obliques. And I come up. Draw the belly back. Activating the feet into that imaginary wall at the end of my legs. Belly drawn back into the front of the spine. Inner thighs engaged. Internal rotation of the thigh bones and the hip sockets. Front of the chest open. Shoulder blades engaged onto the back of the rib cage. Drawing centrally and down. Right wrist active into the floor. Belly drawn back. Collarbone lifted towards the base of the skull. Reaching into the heels. Activating the balls of the feet into the imaginary wall at the end of your foot. Pull up on the thighs. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Draw the belly back. Come on, we've got 20 seconds left. Reach those fingertips up to the sky. Lift the ribcage up into that right shoulder blade. Activate the shoulder blades onto the back of the ribcage. Draw the collarbone up. Belly back. Come on, let's go. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. And release.
Oh, jeez, I've got such pain in my shoulder.
If you feel any pain in your neck, it means that you're not activating the lats enough. So lat activation is activating, squeezing the elbow towards the rib cage. That movement. As soon as this is switched off, all the tension will go into your neck. So let's just try that one more time. We'll do one more on each side. a little bit of movement. If you got that without any pain in the neck, you can follow the next set of instructions. If your pain is still, and again, you have to distinguish between whether this is releasing tension in your neck. If you're feeling like throbbing and aching, then the tension is coming out of your neck. If you feel pinching, screaming, then you've got too much tension in the neck. Then you need to draw it out of the neck. So again, if I feel this kind of thing, my neck's going to get sore and tight. I've got to be engaging through here and releasing the neck so it's nice and free. Right, in fact, we can do a little test once we're in there to make sure we've got the neck in the right place. Right, let's go. So again, these stories, if my technological abilities have improved well enough to keep us going, these stories should stay live for 24 hours. If there's little bits that you want to reiterate, you just go back to the story, into the live at the bottom right of the screen, and you can just tap forward and run through to the place that you want to just jog your memory of. Right, so reaching into the heels, driving, activating the feet into the imaginary wall at the end of your foot. Your internal rotation of the thigh bones in the hip sockets. Pull up on the thighs, engage the inner thighs, glutes outside into the base of the spine. Draw the belly back, arch back out of the hips. Activate the left hand into the floor, right arm in the air, very slowly. Let's squeeze and come up. Right, now, like I say, if you manage to keep, so again, if I've got pain in my neck, it means I'm here. I activate the lats. Draw that shoulder down towards the base and center of the spine. Drawing the shoulder blades into the back of the ribcage. The shoulder blades should be burning. If you've got that, let's go. We're going to go dip 1, dip 2, dip 3, dip 4, dip 5, dip 6, dip 7, dip 8, dip 9, dip 10. 5 more. 1. If you've dropped out, come back in. If you can't do the movement, hold the pose. And 5. And release. And come on to the other side. Almost there. Ooh, even sunshine's disappeared.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ooh, because it was quite baking out here. In fact, I have to get my bikini on now because I'm going to get funny tan lines. Right. Let's go. Won't it be great if we come out the end of the 3 weeks of lockdown and we all look like
Goddesses.
Oh, crazy. Right, we should all be eating healthy food. Oh, we're also going to be streaming. I'm also going to be posting up on our live, on our stories, nice little things that we've been making at home, with stuff we have in the fridge already, or stuff we have stored. And yeah, healthy alternatives while we're locked at home. Right, let's go. Stacking that left hip on top of the right hip, reaching into the heels, activating the feet into the imaginary wall at the end of your legs. A little internal rotation you'll feel. When you rotate this, it opens up the glutes. Yeah, I don't want to be compressing that lumbar spine. I want this open. Belly drawn back, shoulders, collarbone lifted, shoulder blades engaged into the back of the rib cage. Lift the right rib cage up into the right shoulder blade. Lift the left arm in the air. And let's go. Squeeze. Right, if you've got this without any pain in the neck, let's go for the 15 dips. 1, 2, keep that right shoulder blade active. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 5 left. 1, 2, go for the hold if you can't. 3, 4, 5, and release.
That was better.
Well done. As you do it and you listen to the instructions, the exercises will actually become easier. Because while anything is switched off, you're literally dragging a dead weight up and down between the 2 contact points with the floor. As soon as I connect my fingers to my toes and I keep an energy line through, I'm only levering and I'm actually just moving my body. Actually, there should be 0 weight involved. Then I'm just moving my body through 2 contact points. But as soon as anything's switched off and something's sagging in the middle, then I'm dragging those heavy hips up and down between the 2 contact points. Right, so I did tell a little lie in that we are going to do that one more time. So back onto the left side. Well, I wasn't lying at the time. I did believe that we were going to stop there, but then I had an epiphany and we're going to do one more exercise. So again, onto the left side, stacking the right hip on top of the left hip. Again, listening to the instructions, following them, trying to go deeper into the instructions. A little internal rotation of the thigh bones in the hip sockets. You'll feel, the more you do that, that the energy gathers in towards the core. If I'm pushed and squeezing out, then I've got no strength plugged into the core. So when I rotate the thigh bones internally, I'm drawing this abdominal musculature into the front of the spine and I'm strengthening my core. Then I pull up on the thighs, I reach into the heels, activate into the big toe joints. Draw the belly in again into the front of the spine. That's the same thing. Activating, pinning, press studding my abdominal musculature into the front of the spine to support the back muscles. Then lift the chest, lift the rib cage up into that left shoulder blade, right arm in the air, squeeze the left obliques. Pop, let's come up. And now, again, if you couldn't do the last one, stay on it. Or on the first one if you were only there. But now I'm going to come here, reach through, and up. 2, and up. 3, and up. 4, and up. Go slow. And here when I get here, twist and up. Twist and up. 7, up.
Oh God.
8, up. 2 left, 9, up. 10, up. And change sides. That's the last one. We'll do a little bit of stretching today as well. We're working different parts of the body. We'll loosen them up a little bit for the end of today's class. And let's go. Right arm on the floor. Outside blade of the right foot active into the floor. Reaching the heels, the feet into the imaginary wall at the end of my feet. Equally into the big toe and the outside blade. Draw the belly back. Internal rotation of the thigh bones and the hip sockets. Squeeze the glutes from the outside in. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Pull up on the thigh muscles. Draw the belly back. Engage the glutes, lean back out of the hips, arch back out of the hips, engage the shoulders onto the back of the rib cage, and lift the shoulder cage, the rib cage up into the right shoulder blade, and squeeze. And let's go. Reach. 1. Reach. 2. Reach. 3. Keep that blade of the foot on the floor. Reach. 4. Arch up. Reach. Oh, I can't remember how to screen. 5. Reach. 6. Reach. 7. Reach. 8. Even if you go to here, that's fine. 9. Reach and 10. And release. And done. Right. Now we're going to do a little stretch. And just twist out that body. Okay, so I'm now going to lie back. Right. Make sure you've got some nice space either side of your arms. Right, I'm going to bend the right knee and I'm going to put the right foot onto the left thigh. Then I'm going to look down the right arm and take the left hand and put it on the outside of the right knee. Then keeping that right shoulder pinned back into the floor. It may not either lift nor slide. Lift is easy to reel in. Slide is a little more difficult. So I don't want it to slide as I go. I'm pinning it into the floor. So I take the left hand and I draw the right knee across. Looking back down the right arm. Again, we'll do the stretch more regularly and it'll become a little more easy and a little more easy to follow all the instructions. Once I hit the point where I feel like my right shoulder is either going to lift or slide, I stop. I activate the right foot back into that thigh muscle, into the left thigh. I pin the right shoulder back in the floor. I take a big deep breath in and slowly, on the out breath, draw that knee across a little more until I feel the right shoulder about to lift or slide. Then I stop again. I pin it back. I take a big deep breath in. And as I breathe out, I pull that knee across a little deeper to the left side until I feel that right shoulder about to lift or slide. I stop.
I pin the right shoulder back in. I look down that right arm. I take a big deep breath in. And as I breathe out, I draw that knee across a little deeper. Trying to keep that right foot active on the left thigh. When I feel the shoulder trying to lift or slide, I stop. I pin it back in. I take a big deep breath in. And as I breathe out, wherever you are now, hold it. Using the muscles of that right shoulder, pinning the right shoulder back into the floor. Turning the head down to look down that right arm, reaching the fingertips of the right hand away from you. Activating that right foot now on the left thigh. Trying to switch your body on in this position. A stretch is much more valuable if your muscles are turned on. Turned on doesn't mean shortened. Turned on means alive, knowing where they are. Binary code, on or off. Pin that right shoulder back into the floor. Drawing the abdominal musculature into the front of the spine, not shortening it. Allowing it to lengthen into the twist. I visualize my pelvic floor and the base of the skull, and I gently, in this position, draw those 2 points away from each other. And slowly release. Very slowly. Straighten out that right leg. Bend the left leg. Put the left foot onto the right thigh. And looking down the left arm, take the right hand on the outside of the left leg. Take a big deep breath in, pin the left shoulder back, and slowly draw that left leg across to the right side. When you feel that left shoulder either lift or slide, stop. Pin it back. Take a big deep breath in. Fill the lungs. Expand the rib cage. Create space for that knee to now draw a little deeper to the right side. With that left foot active on the right thigh. Left shoulder pinned into the floor. Looking down the left arm. Right fingertips driving away, stretching away from you. Draw the belly back into the front of the spine, lengthening the pelvic floor away from the base of the skull. Take another big deep breath in. Pin the left shoulder down. Draw that knee across on the ankle. Activating that left foot into the right thigh, pinning the left shoulder back into the floor. Looking down the left arm. Last big deep breath in. Fill the lungs. Expand the rib cage. As you breathe out, draw the belly back. Pull that knee a little deeper over to the right side. Now wherever you are, stop. Activate the left foot into the thigh. Reach away with the left fingertips. Drawing the pelvic floor away from the base of the skull, lengthening the spine into the twist. Left shoulder pinned back into the floor. And take a big deep breath in. And as you breathe out, slowly return to the center. Now you can bring both knees into your chest. Pulling anchoring the tailbone down into the floor, draw those knees into the chest. Getting a little pinch in the hip flexors on the front of the hips. And then release, and just with your hands on your knees, just rolling your body weight around the sacroiliac joint. So the sacroiliac joint is this place here, the two little bones on either side of the spine, the spinal column, where your hip girdle meets the spine. So I'm just gently massaging that joint with my own body weight, rolling nice and slowly and consciously around it, opening up, squeezing out all the rust. Now that we've warmed up that area, then you can just roll from left to right across those three channels, and then from up to down, along the length of that joint. And then you can release those legs out straight. Take a big deep breath in. And as you breathe out, completely releasing all conscious instruction in the body. Close your eyes, let your feet drift apart, palms facing up.